I'm going to tell you a story that happened to me about 20 years ago. I was at the Walla Walla Community College. It's a 2-year college. I was so good at the community college that I did 10 years of it. I went to get a drink from the drinking fountain, and I blacked out. Apparently I slammed my head really hard. So I blacked out. I woke up in a cave in my head. I'm assuming, I don't know where the cave was, but I woke up in a cave, and I was just sitting there, and all of a sudden this really bright light just comes into the building. Like it made an entrance. Like I was surprised there wasn't like some good music that was playing behind, because it was just like it was a scene from a movie. Like it was really bright light, and I was sitting there, I was like, turn down the lights, the high beams, what's going on? And but my eyes adjusted a little bit, and I through my fingers, I was like, and I'm like, that's Jesus. I saw a very ripped man, like not so much like those bodybuilders who are like, oh, I'm super strong, but more like people that work really hard for a living for their whole life. Is very thick, and he had like very strong trunk and stuff, and I couldn't see his face, which that's always bothered me, but I think it's because you're not holy enough to look on the face of God. So when I recognized who it was, I ran, and I just jumped, and I just put I wrapped my legs and my arms around his body, and I was just like, I'm like, how are you doing, Lord? Like, thank you for being here. What's the occasion, And he's like, I'm here to bring you back. And I'm like, back, I have to go back. I'm ready to go home. So the sooner we get this job done, the sooner we can go home. And that was so I always had my Bibles. I always had a car full of Bibles. I always had my Bible, with me always everywhere I went. I always carried it with me. That's just what I did. And, anyway, so going back to Jesus, and I was like, I'm like, so you're not taking me home. So what am I doing? He's like, I'm here to bring you back. I have a job for you still. I have a long job, like a big job for you to do. And I'm like, oh, okay. And it kind of upsets me that I didn't ask more questions, because I was kind of in awe. It's kind of a very awe-inspiring thing. It's the God of the universe talking to you face to face. The last thing he said to me, he said, oh yeah, by the way, from now on you're gonna go by Rusty. I'm like, okay, I didn't question. Like, you don't really do a lot of questioning when you're talking to the creator of the universe. Like I probably should have asked X, Y, Z a few questions, what kind of job do you have for me to do? Like, what's it gonna be? And I don't think he would tell me anyways. That's why that's probably why it didn't come to mind, to be honest. He was like, from now on you're going by Rusty. So I woke up, and I was in the ambulance, and I was in a body bag. And I was like, let me out, what's going on, help, so the two EMTs pretty much pooped themselves. So like, oh my God, he swerved and pulled over, and like the other guy ran in the back, and he like unzipped the bag, and I'm like, what happened? Because I was gone from the earth. I was just in some cave. I don't know what cave. I don't know where. So they're like, oh my goodness, we thought you were dead. I'm like, yeah. And so he helped me out of the body bag, and he was like, I looked down and I see a toe tag, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like, you guys really thought it was it? Like, we worked on you for 15 minutes, because they'd given me the defibrillators, and so they gave me CPR from the moment they saw that I was down. They were giving me CPR, and they're probably part of the reason I'm still alive here today. But like, was not coming back. Like, they actually put a toe tag on me, and it's a little bit scary when you have a toe tag, because there's a saying, like, especially when you have a disease, well, I don't have a toe tag today, so it's another blessed day. But I had a toe tag, so I was like, oh my goodness, it was kind of scary. And they were heading to the morgue to drop me off, and instead of that, they diverted and went to St. Mary's Hospital. So my left arm, it was my left arm. I was like, I can't feel my left arm. That's all I can say to them. They're like, could you tell us your name? And I'm like, my name is Rusty. And they're like, that's not the name that we have. I'm going by Rusty from now on. That's what I said to them. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. And because they thought I had some brain damage, which I was out for 15 minutes. I got to the hospital and the nurse, she was a war battered nurse. All these nurses were like, so what do we do about his arm? And they're all like, a bunch of young nurses, they were so scared. And she's like, get out of my way. She kind of like shoved them out. And she just put her her foot like up here and down here. And she just like yanked and she popped it back into place. And I was like, oh my goodness, thank you. You know, my arm felt awesome after that. That's my story. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask. Thank you and for your attention, and hopefully that helps. Have a good day. God bless. Bye.